Okay, I will be making some forward-looking statements, and as such, they're with unknown risks, so you should not rely on them, which is not to say don't believe me, it's just that they haven't been proven by technical studies yet. So I always like to do a personal reflection. You could see the land acknowledgement, and we do operate on the traditional territories of Fort William, BZA, and Red Rock Indian Band, and we do have other relationships in the region. But on a personal level, our company feels very privileged to be able to operate, even at the early stage we are in this project. We feel very privileged to be able to operate on these lands. The project will not be successful without the close relationship with the communities, but also participation of our partners and the communities. We feel that's very important, and that's just not lip service. That's me as the CEO talking. It's got to be a participatory relationship here, and so far it's been a very good relationship. Over the 2 years, as I said, I've been CEO for about 10 weeks, but over the 2 years, I've had the privilege of making some great relationships with some, very passionate, forthright, honest people. Some are that in this room right now, and these people not only care about their community, they are looking for an opportunity for economic reconciliation, but more important, they're extremely passionate about being stewards to the land. And so having those people, the communities on your side as partners and as participants, there's no better way to move forward a project. So a little bit on investment highlights, recognizing we're short for time. We are a rare platinum deposit in the world, and particularly a new build. We have a 14 million ton indicated resource, about 2.4 million platinum equivalent ounces, and recognizing platinum's about $1,000 an ounce. That's about $2.4 billion of resource value. And we're open. We have an exploration opportunity. We got a lot of drilling, about 200,000 meters of drilling. We like the jurisdiction. Thunder Bay is a great place. We're just up the Armstrong Highway, and I'll talk a bit about that. As an investor, you get exposure to PGE market, which is actually quite depressed right now, but also everyone likes copper, and copper's got a great future as well. So we do have copper, and we do see value creation, even though we're only one asset. We're gonna try and grow the resource, and we're gonna try and develop this project. As I said, we are located about 50 kilometers, just a drive from Thunder Bay up the Armstrong Highway. We like to say we're in an infrastructure sandwich, so we got the east-west tie line, 230 kV line going through the southern part of the claims, and the Armstrong Highway going through the west side of our claims. So on each one, it's about a 6 kilometer straight line to our small little project site. So when we do get the build, it's we consider it a very low risk opportunity. Our deposit are actually two deposits. They're twin magma conduits, comprised of the current deposit and the escape deposit. Before Clean Air Metals was founded in 2020, these were owned by two different companies. Rio Tinto owned the escape deposit, which is a 5.8 million ton indicated resource. Reasonable platinum palladium grades, a combined 2.6 grams per ton. And as I said, good copper, good nickel. And then the current deposit was owned by Panoramic Resources of Australia. In 2020, these two assets were brought together and Clean Air Metals came to be. We just filed, about a year ago now, 43-101 resource for both deposits as of June 19th. And we previously had a PEA. We had to retract it, and as I'll speak to, we're going to get around to doing another PEA in short order. This deposit, as I said, it's platinum, palladium, copper, nickel, and it's kind of disseminated sulfides, but it can produce sulfides in areas where the magma flow was able to settle, and it settles at the bottom. So we've had some great intersections over the history, some drilled by Clean Air Metals, some drilled by others. But essentially, you could see some of the grades on here. Well, actually, you probably can't because the text is kind of small, but it's the world-class intersections in terms of grade. And then on a tonnage basis, this is showing the two conduits in some of the intersections. We have some significant widths, and those widths allow us to mine. There'll be an underground mining deposit, mine hopefully someday, but significant widths that you could mine an open stoping method, which is low cost and generally a highly productive method. So that's what we're looking towards. And I mentioned we do have, we're a polymetallic operation. This gives you an idea of the value drivers. So half of the value of these two deposits are from platinum and palladium. But 30%, and probably today it's higher than 30, it's probably pushing 33% of the value of our deposit is in copper. And we do carry nickel, we do carry gold, and we have a very small amount of silver, but all those are payable. And so during downtimes in certain commodities, having a polymetallic deposit actually allows you to operate through those rough periods. So if this was built today, and even in the depressed prices, copper showing down and platinum, palladium being down to 5-year lows, this mine would still be generating a positive margin. So there's a huge opportunity here. So recently, I don't know, we put out a press release Tuesday. As I said, we have 200,000 meters of drilling, but there's some opportunities in some of how the ore occurs in very high-grade pods, and what we identified is the opportunity to maybe fill in, try and connect those high-grade pods, or even expand them. They'd have huge economic impact. So we started a drill program, and we pulled the drill out. It's done now, but we just released our first 2 holes, and they're again, stunning intersections. Very happy with the results. And so it's kind of a proof of concept for us. Yeah, if we drill and we add more drill density to some of these high-grade areas and try and tie them together, we can actually potentially grow the resource. And why that is important right now is moving ahead to a PEA. As I said, we had a previous PEA, but in the current context, we think the right thing to do is a lower tonnage, higher grade, toll mill operation, keep the capital costs low. That'll be the foundation of the PEA coming up in perhaps the next year. And then future exploration, that the opportunity to grow the resource, as I mentioned, the down plunge of both these deposits is open. We are focusing on the down plunge of the escape deposit, as you can see in the blue. Right now it exists as a magnetic anomaly, and yeah, it looks like the right trend and good geology, but we're doing a bit of work over the last month on a technology called a seismic survey. So if you can see the little picture of the instrument sitting on the ground. So we put a number of these instruments somewhere in the neighborhood of 250 on a grid on surface, and what it does is collect data. It just sits there and passively collects data from, we'll call it seismic data, but any vibrations in the ground, and it could actually profile changes in lithology over time. So you leave them there for about 15 days and you collect them all and run the data, and it could show you where our intrusion, the enchonolith, the peridotite exists. So we've collected all of the instruments, and we're waiting, the data is being currently analyzed, and hopefully we can actually see where this intrusion is, which will help us actually define where to drill. Because it's about 800 meters deep from surface, so we don't have a whole lot of money to drill a whole bunch of holes. So this could help us focus our exploration efforts, and we'll get a couple holes in with some downhole geophysics within the next 6 to 8 months. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a lot of technical work. I was brought in 2 years ago to actually advance a whole bunch of studies and perhaps build this thing, but the markets didn't really help, and so here we are. But we have done a tremendous amount of baseline work, and our VP of Community and Environment, Chris Toodle, is here. He's taking on continuing collecting the baseline data. We've done a lot of drilling, put the resource out. We've done 2 rounds of metallurgical testing, one to support our original PEA, and we finished one that's pre-feasibility level metallurgical work. Very proud of the results. I won't talk a bit about the path forward. I got that in a separate slide. But yeah, we feel for where we are as a project, we're actually significantly de-risked. I'm a mining engineer, so I can talk hours about this slide, but one of the nice things I like, it's a low-risk operation, very close to surface. It'll be a short ramp, and you can ramp up production really quick. The ground conditions are very, very favorable, very good. So again, it just lends to the low risk nature. And if we're looking at a lower tonnage, this design was for a 3,500 ton a day mine. If we're looking around 2,000 tons a day, even better. Metallurgical work, as I said, it's been completed. Very happy with the results. So what's going to come out of it? Very simple process, creating two concentrates, a clean copper concentrate that the Horn smelter up in Quebec would gladly take, and gave us some indicative terms, as well as a PGE-rich nickel concentrate that we talked to Vale and they're willing to take. And in the event we do build a mill, the right thing for this project is a toll milling operation where we ship the ore up the road or somewhere else, but that's a very much a leading statement, so I won't go any further on that. But we did, we were originally planning a mill for this site, and that could still be the case. Really quickly on metals outlook, we're very bullish on platinum, and I encourage people to look up the hydrogen economy and how that's growing. Platinum is a huge part of the hydrogen economy. It's used, and I'll skip the next slide, I'll talk about it here. It's actually used in the anode and cathode to create green hydrogen, and used in fuel cells. And hydrogen is absolutely a big part of the future transition to green energy. Copper, don't need to say anymore. The world needs a bunch of copper, but palladium, and in Thunder Bay people are very aware of palladium. Don't count palladium out. If you pay attention to plug-in hybrids, they have a higher palladium loading and sometimes platinum, but higher palladium loading than an internal combustion engine. And as car sales get going from pre-pandemic levels, and if people are buying plug-in hybrids, you'll see a spike in palladium again. I think it's got another run in it. Already talked about the green economy for platinum. Do your own research and look it up. Last slide for project development activities, and you'll notice we don't have a long-term Gantt chart showing when we'd produce, because we still got to get a PEA out the door. But you know, we've done in the last few months have started to ramp up activities, getting the drilling on site and really trying to understand the high-grade nature. Revised targeting for the down plunge, as I mentioned. We're trying to actually put a really good long-term exploration story together for the site. And we're looking to get into advanced exploration over the next few months and do some permitting to potentially do a bulk sample. And what the bulk sample will do could potentially prove up the ability to get this toll milled. So 0.0 work has been done on that. That's kind of the next step for the team. But we will look to move forward with advanced exploration. And then on a corp dev standpoint, we're always looking for assets for the right price. Nobody cares about platinum and palladium, so we do. And if there's an asset out there that makes sense for us for the right price, we're going to go after it and we'll get it. And that's it with a minute and a half to spare. Enjoy your lunch.